How's your offer going, Jeff?
Great. So went into escrow this morning and yeah, thanks. Yeah. So it's good week.
Awesome. Thank you. So there's a win. Any other wins, Jeff?
It's just I've set some more appointments. It's getting it feels like it's just getting easier. All of
Good.
the things that you said would happen are happening. So
Yay.
that's good.
Love to hear that. Anyone else have a win they'd like to share? Somebody needs to come off mute and share it.
I know. I knew who you were talking to. Yes, I do. I'm in escrow with buyers that I've been working with for 8 months, which
Yay.
has been crazy. And yeah, and I even being in escrow, we're doing an appointment today at 4:30 with the lender because the wife is just super nervous about the financials. And it seems to be what's been holding them back all along. They find the perfect place and she's like, oh, I think it's a little too expensive for us. And so just pray that she gets settled. And they're first time home buyers. It's nerve-wracking. The husband has a lot more confidence than she does, and so just trying to get them back both just relaxed, more so her than him.
Awesome. Talk them off
Mhm.
that ledge. Show them
Yeah.
all the equity they're going to be building.
Yes, yeah. And I also was thinking about showing them the four other offers that they've made and realizing like this one, you're saving the most amount of money, you're getting everything you wanted, and just trying to take them back towards memory lane of where they've been.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you. And I know I'm supposed to go to a school concert at 1 o'clock for a neighbor. So I'm kind of like trying to eat and do coaching at the same time today. But I wanted to jump on and just say thank you. And I'm here.
Awesome. Well, glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, Matt. Anyone else have a win they want to share? No? Okay. Well, we've got a lot of vacations going on and graduations and things still going on, so we're noticing things are a little light this week, probably next week too. But that's okay. Remember, though, we're not taking the summer off unless that was in your business plan. So, happy to have you guys here. Glad you guys are all in. Maybe some others will join us, and if not, they can watch the recording. So I wanted to ask, has anyone here done an open house this past weekend or very recently? Jeff, tell
Uh-huh.
us a little bit about it. What was your experience?
It was great. I've done a few now, and frankly, I mean, I really kind of enjoy them. It's you know, it so this last one that I did had like 15 sets of people, come through. I think it gets easier every time just simply because I figured out I don't have to know everything about all of it.
Love
And
that.
it really is about just kind of welcoming people and giving them the overview, not everything. I think one of the things that I felt kind of pressured the first time was I need to know every single thing and tell them everything about this. And they don't want to know that, first of all. they they just want to get in the house. And
Yeah.
so anyway, it's been a great experience. So
Awesome. Awesome. I have something to add to that in a minute. But does anybody else have been doing open houses?
Well, Jody, as you know, I had put my house on the market, and yesterday I took it off
Is that
because
good?
I went into escrow on the other end.
Yay.
um,
So hubby's good to
yeah.
stay for now?
Um, well, I've talked my husband into it. He wants to retire this year, so we're just trying to. I'm like, yay, I can take it off. I will immediately.
Yay,
Um,
that's a good thing. We don't
yeah,
normally like
so
to lose listings, but in this case, this is a good
I
thing.
know it is a good thing. But what was interesting, obviously it being my own house, I purposely did not want to do open houses. I only put 3 pictures up. Like I did not want to sell. I want to keep pressing on right where I'm at. And we had a showing 7 out of 8 days. And two of those were people without agents. And so that was exciting because in my mind, I'm like, potential clients here. So I'll follow up with those. Couple of people as well. It was a little tricky. Just I felt like with the dual agency thing, I was like, tread lightly here. But since we're off the market, I want to follow up with them. Um, So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. And I have to say, I feel like I've been fooling myself thinking I can do real estate and not doing open houses at the same time because that's where your business is. And so I just throw that out there in a coaching group. We all know it. I've never taken that leap and bought my own signs. I'm like, I just want to save the money. What if I change my mind? Um, but seeing the value in that, like you just for me, like I do know that I should be buying my signs and I should be doing open houses every week if I want real estate to work. So
Yeah.
there's my 2 cents.
Thank you. That really is a good way, especially for newer agents to build their business and even get listings. I was in my cadre call with my coach, who it's several coaches who have very highly robust programs. Well, let's say it's the cream of the crop coaches is the only ones he allows into this group. And so we were talking about that today, which is one of the reasons I wanted to ask this, because one of the coaches had brought out that he went through the last 2 months and to see where most of people's business was coming from in his group. And it was open houses. And so they really did a lot of practice and things around that. So we're working on putting something together for the group. It's going to benefit, it's going to be a requirement for new agents coming in. And those of you that are already here, we're going to give you the option to go through it because it will benefit you no matter how comfortable you are with things, you're going to get even more comfortable. So that's a little teaser, more to come. We intend to launch it the second week in July. So I'm going to be gone, as you guys know. I told you last week for about 2.5 weeks to take care of some things with my back. And don't worry, the team's got you covered if you didn't hear that last week. And I'll still be checking in the evenings, but during the day, I'll be in a lot of therapy stuff that I'm not going to be able to be very available during the day. Anyway, so in downtime, I'll be working on that as well. So excited to bring that to you. And it's really going to be something that is going to take your conversations, whether it be with your SOI, whether it be with open houses, whoever you're talking to for whatever reason, it's going to take your conversations to the next level and it's going to build your comfort level around the conversations. That's what the intention is. And so we would love for those of you that weren't required in the beginning because we didn't have it to come through it and give us your feedback too, because we're going to go through it one time and then we're going to get some feedback and make some tweaks and it will be a continuous part of the program. So I did want to piggyback a little bit, Jeff. You mentioned when talking to people at open houses, wanting to give all the information. And let me clarify, did you mean about the particular house that you're sitting open?
Yes, and
Okay.
so, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and I'm glad you said that. And I'm glad you also noticed that people just don't care, right? Here's the thing, when we have these conversations at open houses, really, when we're talking to people, the entire goal is to build rapport and capture them as a client if they're not already working with an agent. They probably don't even like the house that they're coming to see open 90% of the time. I don't know what the actual percentage is, but it's super rare that a person buys the house where you meet them at the open house. Does it happen? Yeah, it's happened to me once, but it's rare. Okay. So open houses aren't to sell houses. Open houses are to get you leads.
Right.
In general, right? So don't even worry about the house. So when I have an open house, when I have somebody come into an open house, I greet them. I shake their hand or fist bump them, whatever they're comfortable with these days, right? Introduce myself. I walk up and say, hi, thank you for coming. My name's Jodi. What's your name? Right? As I'm saying that, I'm walking backwards and guiding them to the sign-in sheet, wherever we have that set up. So it should be fairly close to the front door. Usually kitchen counters are proximatable, is that a word? Or something that's nearby where it makes sense, right? Having them sign in. As they're signing in, you might make some small talk with them. And one of the questions I like to ask is, how long have you been looking? right? Because that requires an actual answer of some sort, not just yes or no, right? That starts the conversation. So, whatever conversation comes out of that as they're signing in, maybe it will be a longer conversation and maybe not at that point. But at that point, just thank them for signing in, back up, and let them, just kind of point them in the direction of the main part of the house and say, please feel free to look around and let me know if you have any questions when you're done. Come by and say bye. Be watchful for them as they come back through to say bye and ask them if they have any other questions. And if you're not already juggling multiple people, sometimes you are, right? Then take more time to build that rapport. And then a good trick is to always have the house up on a laptop or a device during your open house to the MLS listing. Because that way, if they ask you a question that you don't know, you can refer to it and it's no big deal. But that way you don't have to stress about knowing everything. And I mean, you're going to want to know things like how many bedrooms, bathrooms, and the square footage. Everybody's going to ask that just about. Okay. But beyond that, don't worry about it. Let them ask the questions. And if you don't know the answer and can't find it, that's actually kind of good because now you have a reason to follow up with them. Right. So it's okay not to know, especially if it's not your listing. Just say, you know what, this actually isn't my listing. That's a great question. And I'll find out for you and get back to you. Is the number you wrote on the sheet correct? Is it? And then go over and read it. Don't ask them if it's correct. Right. Let me verify the number so make sure I can read it. And then go from there. Does that make sense? Yeah. Open houses are such a great way to get business. They really, really are. Anyone else that jumped on here a little bit late? Have you done an open house recently? No?
I actually have one coming up
Okay. Awesome.
Saturday and Sunday.
This weekend?
hmm
Okay.
And it's a mobile home, and it's in Arroyo Grande, and it's 649,000, but you don't pay a space rent, and it's a great group of people because I remember at the end of my one open house, I think it was a Saturday, one of the residents invited me to a karaoke thing at the clubhouse. And so I thought, well, I'll go over there. And I thought maybe I might, pass out some of my flyers. Well, I guess that was against the rules, but I still had people insist that I sit with them, and I had a lot of fun, and everybody in that room was very satisfied with where they were living. So,
Well, good.
uh,
That's a good way to build rapport by going to those types of things. And remember, if you're not allowed to pass out flyers, which in reality isn't necessarily the best thing to do, because what do people do with flyers and business cards?
probably toss them.
Yeah, they just throw them away. So, but you probably always have your phone with you, right?
hmm
So just let them know that, hey, I would love to get your contact information and keep you informed of what's going on in the neighborhood. Right. So then get their phone number, get their email address, and put them on a neighborhood nurturing command. So flyers and business cards get tossed, but if you can get contact information that you can put into your phone, and guess what? If they give it to you, you don't have to worry about if they're on the do not call list. So it's a great way to have your numbers, not to be able to know you're being TCPA compliant.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I still don't know. I don't have a handle, I should say, on that do not call registry. I still get very flustered. And the majority of the time when I do call, it's from this motivated seller data feed that I have. And uh, I know that they're not on the do not call list because they're judgments and bankruptcies and foreclosures and liens and everything and inheritances. So I
Doesn't
know I'm
mean they're
safe.
not, that doesn't mean, Dennis, that they're not on the do not call list. Okay, just because somebody has something going on with their property doesn't mean they're not. So unless you're using a source that has verified or scrubbed those numbers, you do need to verify that they're not on the do not call list. And you can go to donotcall.gov. I don't know the exact steps to walk you through, but you can go there to figure out how to do that. We are going to be having something come up where you will be able to get numbers for different things. I talked about it last week that will be scrubbed numbers. So our intention is to have that available to you by mid-July. That is our goal. So stay tuned for more information on that to come. Okay. So anybody else planning to do an open house soon?
I am doing another one this weekend.
Okay. So I'm curious, Jeff and Dennis, after Jeff goes, I'm curious, what are you doing prior to your open house to lead generate or to invite people to come?
Good question.
So for me personally, we put it out on social media. So we advertise it through, our network and all of that. And then also I reach out to anyone that's in my contact base that of course might be interested, as well as I get a list in the neighborhood, and to be able to call around and say, we're going to be doing an open house if you know anyone who would like to live in your neighborhood.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah.
Love that. Do you ever door knock and invite them?
I haven't. I mean, I would, but I haven't done that at this point.
A really good idea is the day before or the day of, maybe go a half hour early or something, hour early, whatever you think is works, and door knock, 10 houses this direction, that direction, and across the street.
Uh-huh.
And
Great.
just personally invite them and let them know, hey, at whatever time. Because we know neighbors are nosy, right? But those nosy neighbors also have friends and family that might want to be buying or selling a house.
Yep, for sure.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
Dennis, what have you done to invite people this weekend?
Well, I had an early day yesterday, and I ended up with a little downtime in the morning and decided to go to McDonald's. So I went to McDonald's and I sat next to a group of old timers, and they were shooting the breeze. And I I went up to the group and I said, "Excuse me, gentlemen, but by any chance, do you guys have anyone that you know of that wants to either buy or sell a house?" And there was one guy that spoke of somebody that his sister-in-law was subletting a larger place, and the people that she was subletting were looking to downsize and get a smaller place because it was just too big for them.
Did you get their contact information?
I got this guy's phone number,
Okay.
and he approached me after his group had gone and asked me, "Hey, is that place accessible now?" And I said, "Well, I'd have to take you over there, and then you have to go through a gate." And he says, "Well, I know that place." He said, "Could you tell me exactly where it is? I just want to go in there because I can go in there," he says, "and I know the code or whatever, or I'll just wait until somebody buzzes themselves in and be behind them and just go through it. But I want to go over and check it out for my people." And so I gave him the I drew him a little map on how to get there, and I got his phone number. I said, I'd like to call you and see if you got in touch with people because I have an open house this weekend. So he gave me the phone number, and it seems like for me, and I'm just going to tell you from my own experience, it's the smallest little opportunities that you pass by that you don't take the initiative to do. Those type of opportunities are the ones that give me the best leads. Whereas, going to hosting open houses, yes, once in a great while I get a good lead. But when I take the initiative, it makes me feel so much better. And door knocking is great. And I went door knocking in Jeff's area. He had a listing over on Winona, 333 Winona. And I went over there because I was interested in looking at it. And, it just turned out to be the best little experience. I just went around, you know.
But let me stop you. Don't mean to interrupt, but we want to keep our conversations here succinct, okay? So that we have time for everyone to share. What we want to find out is the activities that you're actually doing to invite people to open houses, right? And so enjoy or approaching that group, that is great because that's something that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily do. But other things, right? Like door knocking around the house to invite the neighbors. That's a must do, either door knock or call, right? If we're not doing one of those things, we're not showing the neighbors how hard we work for someone,
Mm.
right? And so one of the ways that we get more business and additional listings, particularly in a neighborhood, right? And let me backtrack for just a second. Oftentimes in a neighborhood, when one home sells or goes up for sale, another one will follow shortly. Whether it's a week or two or a month or two, it will follow shortly, almost always. So if you're taking advantage when you guys have open houses and you're walking the neighborhood, door knocking, or you're circle calling and letting them know that you promised the sellers to do everything you could to get their home sold in the least amount of time for the most amount of money with the least amount of hassle, and you don't have to go into all that, right, with people. And so that's why you're inviting people, because it's often neighbors in the area that know of someone who wants to move in. So please come by and say hi and check out your neighbor's house. Those are the things that are going to actually make open houses successful. If we just do an open house for a weekend and we plan it in our calendar and we throw up signs before the open house and we've only talked to a couple people and we don't do anything else, those are not the successful open houses. Okay. And you may get some traffic and you may not, or you'll get traffic from the signs, but you really need to make an effort to talk to the neighborhood, show your value as an agent by going that extra mile. And this has been proven over and over again by doing that open houses are more successful and your pipeline grows faster.
Can I ask a quick question, Jodi?
Of course.
How do you feel about, I remember a while back at a team meeting, they were talking about the comment cards, like doing those at the end of a walkthrough. Do you think, or an open house, do you think those are valuable, or just stick to the sign-in sheet and, like the comment cards where you say like what you liked or what you're looking for in a house or things like that? Or is that just kind of?
It really depends. A lot of times agents will use that as a means to sign in, to get contact information. So it really depends. Now, if the seller wants comments, if the list agent, if you're doing it for somebody else, wants comments, then by all means. To do it just to do it, it's really a tool to help you have conversation.
Okay.
Right. And a further conversation. So it's absolutely something you can do. It's not necessary or mandatory, but it is a tool to help those conversations. Awesome. Do we still have Matt? Or did he disappear into the universe? Sometimes if you don't sit close enough, there you go. Sometimes if you don't sit close enough and you've got these backgrounds on, we can't see you. Awesome. So, let me just ask, Jeff, you've closed one, you're opening another one, you have a referral. Where are you getting your business? What source are these coming from?
A few different places. And so, first of all, my SOI has been very, but I guess when it comes to these three, it's been either from, my team. And so I kind of in a little bit different situation where I work on this smaller team. And so we have different days where we're on. And so a couple, one of them has come from that. Another's just come from me kind of mining our database of old people that have been in touch with the office at some point that when I'm doing my prospecting that I've come across that just happen to be looking for someone. So a variety of different places.
I love that. There is, it might be in the toolkit. If not, I know where to find it. It's in my, matter of fact, it's in my smart plans. I know how to get it quickly there. I'm going to bring something up and I want you guys to screenshot this. So everybody, once you've been doing this for 6 months or more, you're going to end up with, oops, I have to be in the right place. You're going to end up with what we call older leads, right? Leads that fell through the cracks, leads that weren't followed up on, leads that you thought went dead, whatever the reason. There is an awesome thing to say to these people, to send to them. As soon as I find it, I'll share it with you. You can do this via email, via text, via, here it is, via social media post. You can also do it just by a phone call, right? Oops, that's not it. Did I click on the wrong one? Okay, so it's going to be on the right side when you see it on the screen because I have the smart plan up. So notice right here, just checking in and wanted to ask you a quick question. Are you still thinking of purchasing or selling a home? When are you looking to move? And give them the options. Now, 3 months, 6 months, 6 months to a year, more than a year, decided to stay where I am. Hope you have a good day. Right? Or please let me know. Hope you have a good day. That's a good thing to send to people that you're, like you said, Jeff, you're mining old leads. So if you call and you're not getting them on the phone, send them a text or send them an email after you've tried to call, and you might adjust this to where, I tried to call, blah, blah, or I sent you a text, so just adjust the beginning. But this has been very useful. I got this idea from Nick Baldwin. I don't know if any of you know who he is. He's a guru in Keller Williams. And he sent this out to a database of, I think, 500 people that leads were about 2 years, anywhere between a year, 2 years or more old. And he sent this out, and in a short amount of time, he got 14 positive responses of things to follow up with. So this is something that I would do like every 6 months to all of your old leads that you haven't been actually talking to. If you have Facebook leads that are coming in, if you have old open house leads, because after a while you'll be doing open houses for so long that you'll have a ton of those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just send them out. And every once in a while, here's the response you're going to get. Oh, I already bought a house. And it's going to sting. And what's that going to teach you?
Stay in contact.
Yeah. Because how many times and we've had this conversation before, but probably not with everyone on here. How many times, and be honest, how many times, let's use open houses as the example. You hold an open house. and somebody comes in and you've talked to them. They've signed your sign-in sheet. It's the real phone number. It's the real email address. When do you follow up with them? There's a few questions I have. That's the first one. What is your process for following up?
The next week, maybe?
Anyone else?
I would say within the first 48 hours.
Okay.
Right
Anyone else?
after and the next day.
Yeah, I would do it that day or the next day at the latest. You do not want to let a lot of time go by. Because if they go to somebody else's open house and that person's following up immediately and you're waiting 2 days or weeks, you're not the one capturing the lead just because you got their contact information, right? So getting contact information and actually capturing them as a lead and building that rapport are two different things. Getting the information is step one. Okay, now let me ask you another question. Let's just say you do call them. So it's Saturday afternoon, you had an open house, you built a great rapport. Monday morning, first thing at the very latest, you call, you thank them for coming to the open house. Just ask if they have any other questions. And then this can start the conversation of if that house wasn't for them, how you can help them, right? Okay, let's say you call them and they didn't answer. Now what do you do?
Text them.
Send a text, okay? So you called, they didn't answer. You sent a text, they didn't respond. Now it's the next day. What do you do?
Follow up again.
Okay, and they didn't respond. What do you do the next day?
Put them on a smart plan.
Okay, and call again. Is that what I gotta expand that? See what Rochelle's saying. Add them to smart plan and call again. Okay. So now we're on, let's go to day 5. We still haven't heard from them. We've called them 3 times. We've texted them. What do we do?
Keep going until I tell you to stop.
That's the right answer. But how many people stop after the first day or two when they get no response? That's why your business isn't growing. If you're someone who does an open house or gets any form of leads and follows up once, twice, maybe even a third time, whoa, now you're really doing your job, right? You're doing better than most people if you follow up 3 times. But on average, it takes 8 to 15 times.
Wow.
I was just gonna say that.
So if you are not following up until either they answer, you have a conversation, whether it's via text, email, or phone, but a 2-way communication, or they tell you to stop, you're not doing your job. And if you don't have business from these sources and say, oh, open houses don't work, that's why. Because I promise you, open houses work. Is everyone going to give you business that day? No. But if you're doing consistent open houses 2, 4 a month, and you're doing your proper pre-open house lead generation, and you're following up till you speak to someone or they tell you to stop, no matter how long it takes, you will have successful open houses and build a pipeline. There's no way around it. But the people that tell me open houses don't work is because they are not doing any of those things. They're scheduling it in their calendar. They're throwing up a couple signs, maybe telling 2 or 3 people about it. They might make a social media post the day they're there, maybe, and they're not following up. Because here's what happens. You get your sign up sheet. You have it. You're all excited because these people are good. Oh man, they're going to be great. Monday comes and one of 2 things happens. Either we forget, we put it off because we're doing something else, or we're just scared. Tuesday comes, same thing. Wednesday comes, same thing. Next week comes, oh, well, now I don't want to call because it's been too long. Before you know it, you spent all this time doing an open house to get leads, but what'd you do with them?
Self-sabotage.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you're not going to follow up the amount of time it takes, don't even bother to do them. And if you don't bother to do them, don't expect your business to grow. Now, does that mean you have to do open houses as lead generation? No. And if you're new and want business, you should be, because that is the second best way to get business quicker is open houses. Number one is what?
SOI.
SOI. Calling those people you're afraid to call. And if you're not willing to do those two things, you shouldn't be in this business. Because over 70% of our business comes from our SOI. And that's a NAR and a CAR statistic that holds true year after year after year. So unless all of you are okay with only getting 30% of your goal each year, and I doubt anybody's okay with that. Anybody set a goal and you're good if you just get 30%? Probably not. So tell me, before I go there, because it's kind of changing the subject a little bit. Any other thoughts, comments, questions about what we've been talking about?
This is really opening up my eyes, Jody. I see where I've made my errors, and I'm going to change. And
Good.
I really got a lot out of that because it was hard to take, but I see where I'm really the cause that I'm not getting as much business as I thought I would get.
Good. And don't feel bad about it, Dennis. Just change from here on out, right? We don't know what we don't know. And until we learn the best practices. So just make those changes and your business will change, right? And if it was a little hard to take, you know what? That means I'm doing my job. If some of the things I said weren't a little hard for people to take, I wouldn't be doing my job. Because we want you all to be successful. We're not here just to talk at you or teach you a few things and hope you succeed. Right? Okay, so tell me, is anybody that's here, are you currently having a struggle in your business? A struggle with anything that you would like to mastermind around that you could use help on? And I know sometimes when I ask that question, one, it's hard to think of maybe what you're struggling with because maybe it's a few things. And two, maybe we don't want to admit it, but this is a safe room, right? Okay. Because if we don't put those out there, we can't get help. So I'm going to rephrase the question because this will be easier to answer. What is that one thing that's keeping you awake at night? When you're trying to go to sleep and it just hits you. What's that one thing about real estate? Okay, let's be clear. Trust me,
This
in
time we have, yeah.
I've had some interesting answers if I don't clarify. I actually started clarifying because of some interesting answers I got. We're not marriage counselors, okay? So anyway, what's that one thing that's keeping you awake at night about your business?
I have a question about finding leads. I have been finding some houses like on the MLS, and then I it just is taking me a long time to like then find the homeowner's name and then track them down. And then by the time I do, they end up being on the do not call list. Is there an easier way for me to do that without using one of these paid services?
You can go knock on their door.
Well, yeah.
There's no do not knock list that I'm aware of. um, uh, and you don't have to pay to scrub numbers if you sign up for that on the do not call website. I know other agents that have done it. I'm not sure how they do it, but I do know that at do not call.gov, there's a way. My understanding is you can sign up to 8 area codes for free. So you might throw a question out there to the market center or in WhatsApp if there's anybody that's done it and knows how to do that. I know it's there. I haven't done it personally because I haven't needed to. Maybe I should just so I know how to do it, but but you can go to do not call.gov and you can do it for free.
If
But
I
they do make it difficult. That I know. So
if I get like a list from title, because I know title companies has like expireds and stuff like that.
mhm.
Do they provide you with the phone numbers, or is it just the list of addresses?
Usually title companies only provide addresses. But with a few minutes left, do your market centers have very many expireds?
Um, Not too often. I more not a little bit out of my area, but still in Orange County.
Yeah, right. We're just not seeing a lot of expired, so we haven't talked about it a lot. We probably have a few more now than we did, last year at this time. One thing that I will say, and that I got this from Gene Rivers, he has a really good system or had a really good system for expireds, and it wasn't calling them. Because when a listing expires, and I know one of your MLSs doesn't allow you to call expireds for a certain amount of time. So make sure and check with your MLS. I don't remember which one it is. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt and check with your MLS. Ours does. So we can call expireds the moment they expire. They expire at 12:01 a.m. We can call them then if we want. I wouldn't, but you could. So what happens is 7:30, 8 o'clock the next morning, that seller's phone is ringing off the hook from every agent in the MLS. Don't be that agent.
Go knock it.
Go knock it, and go knock it with a plan. So if you search homes that are about to expire, then you can do a CMA. You can, do some neighborhood information to have prepared and ready with your pre-listing packet, and you go knock on their door and you leave that with them. And you say, you know what? I know that you're probably getting bombarded with phone calls right now. I didn't want to do that to you, but what I did want to do is bring you some information that might help you. All I want to do is leave this with you because I know you weren't expecting me, and follow up with you in a couple of days if that would be okay. Make yourself stand out. And the other thing is, if you want to work expireds, work older expireds. So look for homes that expired like a month ago or more and haven't relisted yet. Because chances are they didn't relist because they either didn't like their agent, they were angry as all get out from the 5,000 calls they were getting, and so they just threw their hands up, right? Maybe it was because they changed their mind or something else, but so if you're working older expireds, you're going to have a lot better opportunity to actually get a listing from them.
Okay,
Don't worry about the ones that expire at 12:01 that day.
I was kind of wondering about that also, like in the buyer's contract, they have like that 45 days after it expires, that agent still gets the commission for it. So would you not really want to sell it that fast after they expired?
Well, it depends. Not everybody fills that in. Not everybody says 45 days. So it really depends. But really, if you're
Okay.
looking at things a month or more out, so in your case, if your area is common to put 45 days, look at things, 7, 8 weeks out. So that
Okay.
you're not concerned about that. And it's a question you can ask them. When you signed your listing agreement, did you sign anything? A lot of times, that clause is for buyers that came through the house while it was listed. So just see what the listing agreement says if there's a question about it. But just don't be the one that is calling them that first thing that morning and be part of the chaos that's happening for them.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anyone else have any thoughts, questions, comments today?
Jody, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Michelle. I am curious if you have any go-to information for zip forms and not understanding the forms, but how the program itself functions that can help me with feeling more comfortable with that whole program.
So you can go to Ask a Coach for that.
Okay.
Lori's in particular, she's Monday and Wednesday. Well, all of the coaches are pretty capable in there and versed in it, but Lori's extra detailed. Zip Forms has been making a lot of changes, so all of us are kind of learning some new nuances to it, to be honest with you. The last time I went in there, I was like, what? How in the heck do I send signatures? Because they changed it all up on me. So, and I just had to click around and figure it out. So, they might have even added some videos now because they've made so many changes. So part of it is just Zip Forms is weird.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I definitely have been looking on YouTube for videos, anything to just get more comfortable with their program. I feel like once the transaction has actually happened, I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this not working? And I can't get it over to DocuSign and I'm saving it on my desktop and just feeling so scrambled. And I feel like, shouldn't it be smoother? Like, what am I doing wrong here?
Well,
so anyway,
it should.
thank you for that.
Yeah, it should. And there hadn't been a lot of videos because they've really for the last few months been making lots of changes constantly. And Susan will help you with most of that. So if you need something signed and you're having trouble with it, just send it to Susan to send out for signature.
Thank you. And she's been awesome. So thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. Anything else? Or would you like 9 minutes back in your day? All right, guys. Good to see you. I'll see you next week. Be sure to be here because I won't be here for the next 3. You're going to have a guest host each week, a different one each week. And be sure to be here and support them. So be thinking about what you want to mastermind around, okay?
Thank you, Jody.
I'll see you
Thank
next
you.
week. Bye-bye.